Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the Hyundai i20 N line, which is priced between 11.44 to 14.09 lakhs on road Mumbai.
But before I get into the in-depth review about this car, let's also look at another critical aspect while purchasing cars, the insurance for your car. With increasing digital penetration in the country, there have been initiatives taken to promote the adoption of digitization and technology across various sectors, and more so in the insurance segment. In this digital era, Acco Insurance is a new age digital company in the insurance sector who, in just 4 years of coming in, they have changed the whole auto insurance game. It literally requires zero paperwork charges, zero commission, and you get same day claim settlement. Can you beat that? In short, it is convenient, time saving, and most importantly, it is budget friendly. This is exactly why I recommend going for Acco car insurance for your vehicles. Acco app makes the entire purchase and claim journey super smooth, and you can manage your policies on the go. What more, you can download it now at www.acco.com or on the App Store. And back
To the vlog, straight away we're going to be opening the engine bay of this N line, and here you can see there is the turbo GDI motor. There is no insulation there, doesn't need it as such because the motor is super duper refined. Now Hyundai says there are 27 changes on this car. Now most of them are of course cosmetic because this is an N line and not a N model as such. The same difference as AMG and AMG line M and M Sport. So this is the N line, which is more oriented towards cosmetic changes, but there are three different things on the India specific model when compared to the international N line. Now 27 changes. We start off by talking about the grille. Checkered flag design for the grille, N line badging here. Grille actually looks quite nice, but finished in gloss black, you can't really notice the checkered flags as such. Now you get this red color treatment on the bumper. The bumper is also revised as such, and you get chrome around the fog lamps as well. Okay, projector setup, LED, but this is a halogen, so not completely LED lights. You see it is blackened out on the inside, says i20 right there. In terms of the stance, looks really very nice and aggressive. Now this is not the dual tone paint, unfortunately. For that you pay 15k more. Gloss black finishing on the outside rear view mirrors. It gets 16-inch wheels with N logo on it. These are 195/55 16 the size of the tires. Red colored brake calipers on the inside. Globally though, you get 17-inch wheels on the N line badging here as well. Coming to the side of the car, you realize there is that red treatment on the side as well, along with gloss black finishing right above it. There's a request sensor here. There's no request sensor on the other side, and these 16-inch wheels actually look quite nice and sporty as well. At the rear, it says i20 here, which does on the regular model as well. But N-line badging, you get this spoiler along with this side treatment as well for the spoiler. i20 written right there. There's this chrome line, but this is sort of a darkish grayish or chrome grayish treatment between the two tail lights of the car. Now again, they're not complete LEDs because the indicator happens to be a halogen. Yeah, that is a bulb. There you see, you get request sensors for the parking sensors, only 2 of them, and there is a reverse parking camera here. This is again new, dual exhaust tips on this car, and these are very much functional. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth will not risk themselves, because if I put my fingers there, they're not going to come out the way they went inside. Okay, that's what she said, that was not right. So again, you see the exhaust is actually moving a bit because 3-cylinder engine, of course. So cosmetic changes actually up the appeal of the i20 for sure. It's already a good looking car, and this makes it look even better. Let's open the boot of the vehicle. Straight away, let me tell you that the boot is actually decent size. There is a subwoofer. Meanwhile, the spare wheel is of course not an alloy, in fact smaller size, 185/65 15 is the size of the spare wheel. There is a hook here, light placement of course, and this does not recline 60/40, it's a single piece recline. So you have to pull it from both the sides to do the same. Let's get to the rear of the car, and that is where it has an advantage over its immediate rival, the Volkswagen Polo. The carpets look nice. These are actually not standard. It says N-line right there. This is an accessory. Seat recline angle is actually nice. You get this sort of checkered flag treatment. This is artificial leather of course. Red stitching, red treatment here. Gets red ambient lighting as well. Cabin feels nice as usual. The center passenger does not have a head, so there is no headrest for the center passenger. There are no cup holders here on the armrest either. Recline angle of the seat is actually quite nice. In fact, there is good amount of legroom and knee room, decent amount of underside support, and headroom is just about adequate. Actually, it's fine. There's a handle to hold on to. Dashboard design looks nice, again the red treatment, and the new steering wheel, which looks fantastic as well. I love how they have done this color treatment, and seatbelt gets the height adjust function. Rear AC vents, again the red treatment. The storage space here, there's a USB charging socket right there. Magazine holder, no scooped out seat back. So big door pockets as well. Bose sound system. It has got 7 speakers including the subwoofer which I just showed you in the boot. Now let's get to the front. Now, like I was telling you, there are certain changes when compared to the international N line, and that happens to be with the instrument cluster, because the international model gets a different instrument cluster which definitely looks better. So it's again very comfy. You get this checkered flag treatment, red inserts, and N written here, which is not the case at the rear though. So this red stitching is actually very tastefully done, and again artificial leather, like I was telling you. Door pockets are big enough at the front. Again, this red stitching, it also gets red ambient lighting. Meanwhile, okay, there's no marking here for other power windows other than the driver power window, which gets a one touch up and down function, which is quite nice. Okay, traction control button. This is the driver rear view monitor. That red insert is also there on the, yes, you guessed it right, on the AC vents as well. This fake AC vent treatment might not be to everyone's liking. Hard plastics are in plenty. Glove box is big enough, gets a cooling function as well. And you get a wireless charging pad along with cooling function here, 12 volt charging socket, 2 USB plugs, and these are the controls for the air conditioning. Nice switches, very good to operate as well. And of course, red stitching there. New gear lever with N badging on it, and red stitching again, leather wrapped. Nice red stitching, actually really nice. Twin cup holders, the space below the front center armrest as well, which also slides. Proper handbrake. The pedals have been revised as well, but this is the IMT. That's the reason this IMT, I mean the brake pedal is the same as the regular models. Okay, steering wheel is adjustable only for height, no, both for reach as well as rake, which is a good thing. This is the engine start button, and the steering wheel is revised, gets the N badging. Nice 3-spoke unit. Okay, again very sporty indeed. It gets an auto dimming inside rear view mirror finally, which is part of standard equipment. The regular i20, in spite of the premium pricing, does not get it, so that's a nice add-on. It gets connected car tech. It has around 58 features for the same. In fact, here I can say, hello Blue Link, open driver side window, and there the power window actually opens, and then it can also open the sunroof of the car. So a few more commands have been added which are not there in the regular i20, but then they will be added via OTA, over the air updates, of course. So instrument cluster also has slightly different graphics, if I may. Here I'm going to turn off the car and turn it on so you can see that as well. There you see, and there I turn on the car. Little bit different here as well. So it shows the system check. It's got tire pressure monitoring system as well, like your usual information in the multi-information display. There's a tire pressure monitor. Yeah, this is the usual affair which you've seen in the Verna as well. This is a 10.25 inch unit. It's fantastic to use. Very nice, very slick indeed. And it's got Apple CarPlay, it's got Android Auto connectivity. In fact, we're going to get into reverse. This is the reverse parking camera. It obviously gets guidelines as well. And this is for the rear parking sensors. Obviously, it also gets a driver rear view monitor, which is again a cool feature in this car. But for that, I need to put the handbrake down. And there you see the driver rear view monitor. The car also gets 6 airbags, hill hold assist, as well as electronic stability control. And the big feature addition here happens to be the fact that now it gets rear discs as well. Yeah, rear discs have been added, but some of these features should have been there in the standard i20 as well. Now what you're going to do, we're going to rev the motor. Here, listen to this. Can you hear that? Let's do that once again. Nuren, can you just turn on the car and rev the motor? Alright, it might sound impressive on the outside, but how does it sound while driving? Well, let's start driving right away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, getting into first gear, putting the handbrake down, driver rear view monitor on, and traction control off as well. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. It only revs till 2000 RPM and off we go. 6,700 RPM red line, first gear 53 kilometers per hour into second, and as I can see, well, it drives like the regular i20, only not much of a difference as such, to be very honest. But around the corners I can feel that slight stiffness in the suspension is actually helping, and the steering also feels so much more dynamic now. Definitely there is an improvement, but is it a world apart? I don't think so. It has become sporty, but not as sporty as you would want it to be. Again, not in the same league as the Volkswagen Polo, but then the Germans are all about dynamic ability, because those cars are made to do 200 kilometers per hour on the autobahn all day long. Anyways, I feel that the steering has more feel in the center for sure. The stiff suspension I mean, can be felt. In fact, over bad roads, you can feel the stiffness, and the good thing is that it feels so much more agile. Body roll is so much better contained as well. But the problem is that sports exhaust now, it cannot be heard on the inside much. So that exhaust, horn is so meek. Okay, the exhaust is not that exciting on the inside, unfortunately. It sounds so much more exciting on the outside. There's a nice grunt in the mid-range. It has punchy performance there, but unfortunately now, this car's biggest problem is that it doesn't have good low-end grunt. Now this is a 1 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. It gets direct injection as well because it's a small engine with a turbocharger. There is turbo lag, and that's the reason drivability is not great. I think Hyundai has also tuned the engine, I mean for the i20, not really for the N-line alone, for having better part throttle response, and that's the reason why the top end is also not that exciting. So the mid-range is the sweetest part of this motor. It produces 120 horsepower at 6000 rpm. Meanwhile, the torque output happens to be 172 newton meters, which comes in at 1500 rpm and stays there till 4000 rpm. So nice wide mid-range punch, and torque band is also nice and wide. That's the reason why the mid-range feels the very best in this car, and the throttle response in the mid-range is really very exciting, but again, not much different from the regular i20. The only difference you feel is in terms of the driving ability, the handling. The body roll is reduced, the steering offers good amount of feel and feedback now, especially at high speeds and around the corners. You can feel the steering is actually giving you some amount of feel and feedback, so weighs up decently well too. But like I told you earlier, it's not a world apart of a difference, and you can actually confidently push it hard around the corners. So that's again a very good thing. Now I was telling you the 3 different features compared to the global i20 N-line. 2 I already told you. One is the wheels, of course, and the instrument cluster. The third one happens to be the fact that the international model of the i20 N-line actually gets a 48 volt hybrid system, resulting in 200 newton meters of torque. This is 172 newton meters of torque. The difference happens to be 28 newton meters. Obviously that car is better low end punch, better drivability as well, and is faster to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. In fact, okay, now you can feel the suspension's roughness, the stiffness rather, not the roughness, because the engine is very, very smooth and refined, and so is the overall suspension also. The refinement levels are fantastic, but this car gets a bit noisy over bad roads because the suspension kind of now crashes through. Okay, it's not bad, but it's not as plush as the regular i20. Here I have to actually make a downshift to go fast. I didn't make a downshift here, but here I made a downshift. You reach the red line quite fast. Now this is a very, very, very bad road. The car is going to swim right now because obviously ground clearance is not that great. It doesn't have to be, it's a hatchback at the end of the day. Here we're going to crawl into first gear. Now the thing is that Hyundai actually has a proper i20N abroad, which actually uses a 1.6 liter TGDI motor producing 204 horsepower and 275 newton meters of torque, going from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 6.2 seconds. That's the actual real N model, like the Volkswagen GTI, not GT. So here we are going to come into first gear and revving the motor, left foot on the brake, and off we go. Yeah, you can feel the bumps a bit more, but I'm happy that the brakes have improved for sure. Grip levels are fine, but you push it hard now. The front tends to wash out a bit and gives you understeer, but that's something you would obviously expect because of the way this car has been set up for comfort, and this is front wheel drive, so obviously it is going to have near limit understeer for sure. But over such roads now, I feel that little stiffness can be felt inside, but the compromise isn't huge in terms of the suspension, and that's the reason they did a good job of actually opting for 16-inch wheels and not 17 inches, because 17-inch wheels would really affect the ride quality because they have to go lower on the profile of the tires as well. But I like how Hyundai has managed to make this car slightly sportier without compromising on the practicality, and at least the N-line differentiates itself from the regular i20 by offering a different suspension, steering as well as an exhaust system, unlike the Polo GT, which now is just got cosmetic changes when compared to the regular Polo. But the Polo GT, which is only available in a single trim automatic, is 2.3 lakhs cheaper than the i20 N-line. Now that is a significant price difference. Obviously this car has so many more features, so the premium you actually pay is completely worth it for the additional features, because this is a car which is even practical, whereas the Polo unfortunately is not. Now you get a rear diffuser, which I don't think is functional either, and the automatic actually gets paddle shifters along with the same nice chrome pedals, and not to forget the nice gear lever as well. Revving the motor, 2200 rpm, and off we go. Some amount of wheel spin obviously, but it doesn't make that noise of screeching its tires. That is the only disappointing part. in spite of having so much oomph, that thing is not there. I'll honestly tell you now what Hyundai should have done. They should have offered the diesel engine in the N-line trim. That would be really fantastic, because a diesel is a diesel is a diesel is a diesel. I've always maintained the same. And as far as I see, I think people are going to opt for this car for the cosmetic changes alone. The changes which are mechanical are very less, as such are not going to make a world of a difference, but people will take it, okay? Because if you're looking to buy a car for outright fun and enthusiasm, well, the Polo GT is still the one to get. Actually, forget the Polo GT, get the regular Polo, save that money, do the cosmetic changes from Karol Bagh. But the Polo is still the more fun car to drive. That engine is also more livelier. Obviously, both cars are not the best in terms of drivability with turbo lag because of the small capacity turbocharged petrol engines, but fuel efficiency when driven sedately is actually decent. Now this one returns around 20 kilometers per liter claimed mileage, and the difference between the IMT as well as the dual clutch unit, the DCT, is very small. It's like 0.25 kilometers per liter, where the DCT is actually more frugal. Again, another disappointing part is they did not offer a manual. A proper manual with a clutch, of course, would have been just phenomenal in this car, because that would be real fun to drive as well. Now into first gear. So that low end lag is a bit of an issue, and it's actually dynamic enough for you to slide it around, take a quick U-turn as well, which I just managed right now. So the i20 N-Line is costing not that much of a premium when compared to the regular i20. In fact, the difference between the top end non-N-Line turbo IMT and the one I'm driving right now, which is the N-Line N8 IMT, is 1.1 lakhs. Okay, Hyundai may say that the price difference is less. Obviously, it is because they talk ex-showroom prices, I talk on-road Mumbai prices. This is 13,08,000 on-road Mumbai, which is quite expensive. And the DCT model, the dual clutch unit one, costs rupees 14.08 lakhs. Again, 1 lakh premium for the DCT. The price difference between the DCT N-Line and the regular DCT, the same trim levels, the higher end, the top end, is actually around rupees 60,000. So if you're looking for value for money, probably this is not the right pick. The thing is, the i20, the third generation model, is itself priced at a premium, and then the N-Line costing slightly more makes it a very premium priced product. But then this is the only practical yet fun to drive hatchback around. Now, of course, there have been way better hatchbacks in terms of performance, like the Punto Abarth and even the Fiat Palio S10, which is almost 20 years old. But those cars have got discontinued because Fiat itself has left India. They were never practical. They were fast, not practical. This is a car which is both practical and fun. It's not extreme, it's a middle ground. So I think it's a good stepping stone to the full-blown i20N. So when you come across these roads, you realize that how the suspension got on the stiffer side. The regular i20 also is actually having a decent handling. I mean, predictable, not fun or sporty. This is slightly more on the sportier side, but like I told you, it's not a world of a difference. It's not something which is really going to rock your boat if you are an enthusiast. The Polo still manages to put a massive smile on your face more than the i20, in spite of the fact it's like donkey's years old now. Now, Hyundai claims it will go from 0 to 100 km per hour in 9.9 seconds, but honestly, I don't see it going from 0 to 100 km per hour in less than 11.5 seconds at least. And that low end lag is a bit of a problem, which means if you really downshift, the problem is that this IMT now actually robs away acceleration times by a bit, because you can't dump the clutch and launch the car aggressively. That's not possible here, because it takes its own sweet time to make shifts. Now, we have been driving in first and second gear only because of the lack of grunt lower down the rev range and the turbo lag as well. But I have to tell you, the mid range is really very sweet. I wish the exhaust was louder, the suspension was stiffer, the steering was heavier, and there was more power as well. At least, if not more, they should have had 150 horsepower, because 120 horsepower really doesn't cut it for me. I mean, it gets the job done. Refinement levels are fantastic, but that 3-cylinder thrum obviously is there, which is present, and you can feel it around some parts of the rev range. But overall refinement is fabulous for a 3-cylinder motor. And definitely the top speed is not altered on this car. It should do around 172 kilometers per hour. The top whack, it's not like they're going to push you all the way, but it feels more stable at higher speeds. So guys, this is my vlog of the Hyundai i20 N-Line. I think it's a great effort, but ye dil mange more. We need more performance and more sportiness, and that's the only way the Volkswagen GT will finally get affected. Otherwise, respect, it's the Polo. That was the actual tagline from VW about the Polo GT. But not that is important. What's important is that Volkswagen is not managed to update its car at all in donkey's years. Meanwhile, Hyundai has actually changed 2 generations of the i20, and this N-Line is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, we get a full-blown N version as well. At around 20 lakhs, made in India, that would be something amazing, isn't it? it does maintain its line really very nicely. It's only thing is when you really try to use the dynamic ability of this car and push it hard and fast, then only you realize what the changes are to this particular N-line model. Yeah, by the way, it has a 37-liter fuel tank capacity, which is actually small. It doesn't reach 100 in second gear. Unfortunately, you have to do another shift to bring it to 100 kilometers per hour, which means you have to go to third gear, of course.